Join us right here on the Splash Live from the Henry Ford Hospital Department of Dermatology, Dr. Molly Powers. We appreciate you for taking your time to be with us today, Dr. Powers.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here.
We're talking about something that has actually been a topic of discussion on social media. Me and you both not too familiar about the TikTok audience and things like that, but there has been some misconceptions about sunscreen not necessarily being good for you. Any misconceptions about sunscreen or information about sunscreen that you want to share with our audience just in general?
Well, there is a lot of information regarding sunscreen, and I think one of the most important things to do is to look at the ingredients and to abide by the manufacturer guidelines for storage. So, look at the ingredients. There are some sunscreens that contain a known carcinogenic called benzene.
Hmm.
So, I would look at the manufacturer and make sure your sunscreen does not include that. We know that UV rays cause skin cancer, so it's important to protect your skin from the ultraviolet radiation from the sun.
Okay, and that's why we have you here to kind of break that down for us again. We appreciate that, Dr. Power. So, what are the key differences between physical and chemical sunscreens, by the way?
Yeah, we get a lot of questions about this. The physical sunscreens use actual minerals, zinc and titanium, to physically block the damaging rays from the sun. The chemical sunscreens use different chemicals
Hmm.
to actually absorb the sun's rays and convert it into heat so it's not damaging. So there's
Hmm.
two different mechanisms to protect your skin from the harmful radiation of the sun.
That's interesting. That's interesting. See, I don't think of it like that of using sunscreen to kind of absorb the sun. I always think of it as literally coming and blocking it like they do like on a commercial and it's just going a different way. But I guess, the sun is good for us to a certain extent. I believe, and that's what the certain sunscreen would be for. Join us right here on the Splash Live to debunk all of those skin protection and sunscreen facts and rumors. Dr. Molly Powers from the Department of Dermatology from Henry Ford Hospital. Now, how effective is sunscreen when it comes to preventing skin cancer?
Oh, it's very effective. So
Mm.
it's important to use sunscreen not only when you're in the sun, but really every day. It's the cumulative damage
Okay.
when you're just out walking your dog or you're going to and from the car. It's very important to protect your skin. And I see a lot of skin cancer in our older population.
Mm.
I every day I'm removing skin cancer from people's noses, their lips, their necks, behind their ears. And I frequently hear, well, I was never in the sun. I was never a sun worshiper. And it just adds up over your lifetime. So it's important to protect your skin every day from the sun.
Wow. Wow. So just accumulative over life, just not like protecting yourself properly. Certain parts of your skin even can be affected by skin cancer by not protect that's very interesting work. Just makes you want to make sure you're on your toes pretty much all the time. Now with the sunscreen though, there's different SPF levels or whatever the case may be. I don't know the proper term for it, but is there a certain amount that you recommend in the sunscreen?
Yes. So every day, individuals should be putting on an SPF of 30 or higher on their face. And a lot of facial moisturizers have an SPF in it. The SPF stands for the sun protective factor.
Oh.
So, an SPF of 30 or higher every day. When you are out in the sun and in the direct rays, I do recommend using an SPF of 50 or higher. A
Oh.
lot of individuals don't use enough sunscreen.
Hmm.
I think people put on a pretty thin layer. And if you look at the guidelines and the recommendations, you have to put on a very, you have to put on a thick layer. So if you're not doing that, then go with a higher SPF. So when you're directly in the sun, I would say 50 or higher every day. Put on a facial moisturizer, protect your face, protect the backs of your hands. Those are always exposed to the sun. So 30 or higher every day.
I'm so embarrassed, Dr. Powers, because I'm the type to just buy sunscreen and just go. I'm not reading SPF anything. And this is exactly why we have you here. Thank you so much again. I got a million more questions. I know I don't have too much more of your time, but briefly, this is what I want to, being completely honest, right? Different skin tones. I don't know if that makes a difference when it comes to how it reacts to the sun or different things like that. So, are there any misconceptions, information in regards to how different skin tones react to the sun and skin cancer and things of that nature?
Absolutely. So, lighter skinned individuals are more susceptible to non melanoma skin cancer.
Mm.
However, people of color also get skin cancer. Again, I see it almost every day.
Mhm.
So, it is very, very important. Melanoma, I see basal cells, I see squamous cells in individuals, skin of people of color. So, it's
Right.
very important to continue to protect your skin.
Yep, regardless. Thank you for putting that out there. There's no, essentially, we all need to protect ourselves. We all need to make sure we have the proper skin, sunscreen, I should say, as well as protecting ourselves with the shade and as well as water. As well as water. Now, I want to ask you something. What are like some key initial signs that we can look for in regards to maybe like skin cancer, signs or things of that, symptoms, if I'm saying that correctly? What should we look out for?
That's a very good question. And anyone is susceptible to skin cancer, like I
Mm-hmm,
mentioned.
mm-hmm.
One of the simple ways to remember for melanoma are called the A, B, C, Ds, and E's of melanoma. A is for if a spot on your body is asymmetric, meaning if you split it in half and the edge in it, you fold it in half, they don't line up. That
Right.
should be evaluated.
Mm.
If the border is irregular, color is C. So if there's different colors within it, D is diameter bigger than a pencil eraser, it should be evaluated. But the most important is E. If there's, and that stands for evolving. If there's ever anything on your skin that is continuing to change, it should be evaluated. I hear a lot of patients come in and they say that they've had a pimple on their skin for several months. Pimples don't last several months.
Oh God.
I would say if you have a new pimple like growth and it's been there for about 4 weeks and it hasn't gone away, you should be in to see your doctor.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. You're dropping bombs here, Dr. Powers. And like I said,
Sorry.
once again, this is why we have you here. We have you here. If you don't mind, just a few more questions. Just a few more questions, if you don't mind. Okay. So first and foremost, how does exposure to the sun contribute to premature skin aging, if it does at all?
Yes, it absolutely does. So the sun and the ultraviolet rays from the sun create damage to our DNA in the skin. And it also breaks down a very important element of our skin called collagen. Collagen gives your skin support and elasticity. So the sun
Hmm.
directly destroys that, and it can lead to early wrinkles and sunspots, in addition to skin cancer.
Oh yeah, see, and as much as we want to absorb it and be outside and love it, like you said, as long as you have to protect your skin from it's so many different things, like you said, premature skin aging, skin cancer. It's just so much. But overall, stay hydrated, stay in the shade, protect yourself, and there's so much more, so many more questions I would love to ask you. But any additional information that we didn't go over that you want to get out to the community, anything that you want to that you have going on you want to let us know about?
Well, I'm outside and I'm very active, and protecting your skin from the sun doesn't mean you can't live your life.
Mm.
So you just need to incorporate these changes. One of the most helpful ways is sun protective clothing. You can wear sun shirts, you can put on a hat with a broad brim. Um, I do recommend trying to avoid the sun in the middle of the day when the sun rays are the strongest. So if you're doing any
Mm,
outdoor activities, try to plan around that time. If you're a golfer, try to go out in the morning. If you're a gardener, try to go in the evening and do your gardening. So making smart decisions, but still live your life and enjoy it because summertime is here and we
mm.
all love summer.
Literally just the beginning of summer too. So we got a couple months of this, so it's best to prepare. Thank you again. We appreciate all the knowledge that you gave here on the Splash today from the Henry Ford Hospital Department of Dermatology, Dr. Molly Powers. We appreciate your time again and information.
Thank you so much for having me.